Jeffrey Epstein's back in the news today. Could we just, for the love of Pete, release everything that we have so we can move on from the Jeffrey Epstein thing? Here's the answer. No. Even if we release everything that we still have, this is going to go on for the rest of our lives. It will always, and probably into our children's lives. Do you know Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump were the reason we never went to the moon? It's going to happen. It's just one of these conspiracy theories that will never, ever go away. Why? Because no one was honest about it in the first place. Once you start to lie, you lie once. If you're a very honest person, you will lie once, and then people were like, what, why would you lie about that? What is going on? He's not like that. But if you're the United States government, you already have no credibility whatsoever. Stop lying to the American people. Just stop it. You know, I said something a minute ago. One of the reasons why you're hearing lies is because it works to the advantage of a color revolution. You know, there are reasons why people are lying to you. Some of them, they're just dirtbags and they're liars. Some of it is just they're politicians and so they're liars. Some of it, however, a good deal of it is we lie because we know it causes damage to the credibility of this entire system. We know it does damage to the culture of America. And we are here trying to destroy the culture of America because we want to try something new. And you won't vote for it. So the only way we can get America to change and do something entirely different that they will never vote for is just to cause chaos and disbelief in everything. So, as I said a minute ago, you know, it's not the news. Many times it's a reflection of a plan. And when it comes to the Epstein thing, this is absolutely a plan. The way this thing has been played out, Democrats are completely against bringing anything out about Epstein. They don't want to do anything about it. The media, do you remember the ABC anchor that went into a commercial break? And she was like, you know what, I got to tell you, Epstein, you know, we had the goods on him, dead to rights, Clinton, all of it. And we were told, pull it. Do you remember that? Remember that, gang? They pulled it at ABC. I think they fired the person who released that video or tried to fire the person. I think they either were working then over at CBS or whatever. But that person was in trouble for releasing that behind the scenes tape. They had no intention of it. Now everybody wants the Epstein tapes. Wait a minute. You didn't want them when Biden was in, and you could have said something, Democrats, and you could have released it all. And you know, what's funny is it is just so full of stuff about Donald Trump. Then why wouldn't they release just that? Why wouldn't have the Democrats released anything in the Epstein file? You're telling me they're like, we got to find something on him. Hey, I've got the Epstein file. Yeah. We got to find something on him. Hey, I've got some information here about Epstein, him and Epstein. They were fooling around. Yeah, shut up for a second. Is there anything at all that we can construe and manufacture about his banks? I know. He's got a secret signal between his bank and the Russian bank. I've got stuff about the Epstein. Come on. If they had stuff about the Epstein, they would have gone to the stuff about the Epstein files. They don't have anything. Now, let me speak directly to conservatives. They're not going to release anything about the Democrats because they had the Epstein files. Do you think that let's just say, I'm not even going to name names. Let's just say the most powerful people on the earth, the most powerful people with powerful connections to government, they knew their names were, there on little, guest books at the island or whatever. You don't think they called in some favors and said, hey, I need that. Can you remove that? You don't think that there were people that were like, hey, you know what? We'll remove that. We need $100 million from you to help out on this campaign. I mean, whatever it is, those names are gone too. They're gone. How do I know this? Because the government is completely dishonest. That's how I know that. But anyway, Donald Trump.
You don't think anything of interest would be in these files? I mean, I think we've already seen some stuff of interest in the emails, no?
I think there is stuff of interest. I don't think that there is going to be anyone at a very high level that is going to be like, holy cow, look, here's pictures with him with a 14-year-old girl. It's not going to happen. Right. That stuff, at least at the upper level, is not there. Now, here's what is interesting. The timing of the release of a few documents last week. The Democrats released some documents, and they released them at the same time that Johnson was saying, by the way, we are going to expedite the releasing of everything. So there's no reason to leak anything, but the Democrats decide to leak some stuff. They leak a memo, and in that, oh my gosh, look at what was said. What was said in that memo? Well, it was said, the only dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Well, what did he mean by that? He's keeping it quiet. All of these things, all these innuendos and everything. Well, now we know from a guy who wrote the book, All the President's Women, Donald Trump and the Making of a Predator. That guy came out this weekend and said, no, that's not what he meant. So Barry Levine comes on, and he's on MSNBC this weekend, and he's asked, so tell me, I mean, we saw this email between you and Epstein. What did he mean when he said the dog that hasn't barked is Trump? What do you think he's referring to? Okay, what was he referring to? I think Epstein is referring to the fact that he believed that Donald Trump talked to Michael Ryder, who was the Palm Beach police chief in 2004, and began the first investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. So in other words, he was the whistleblower. Yeah, but he's got all kinds of stuff in in Jeffrey Epstein's black books. He's the whistleblower. The one thing you don't do is blow the whistle when you know you've got fingerprints all over the dead body and the handgun that killed him. You know what? I think you could find that handgun in this alleyway. Your fingerprints are on it, man. Why would you blow the whistle? The suspect, he said, I suspect that Jeffrey Epstein was saying he was 75% there, believing that Trump might have been the whistleblower at the time. He believed it 75%. Now, how do you release something? I mean, if you think things are going to be released that are going to get Donald Trump, why would you release that? Where after 2 days of it being out, the guy who was part of that email, who hates Donald Trump, is like, yeah, that's not what it means. It means he was the whistleblower.
That is interesting. And I will say, it's amazing that that's what they released and chose to release. That's the same email, by the way, that you're mentioning, that they blacked out the name of Virginia Giuffre, right, which they did intentionally because she has said that he was nothing but respectful and never was with any of the girls at all, in not only her book but also in testimony under oath. And the other one that they released, which said Trump, he says, of course he knew about the girls, was the other big one that they released. Which right. They left out they didn't leave it out, but they just hoped you didn't focus on the next part of the sentence, which he says, of course he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop, which would indicate even if he was aware of this, which I don't think this had anything to do with the sex stuff. I think this was about him. No, it was about poaching employees. His girls from Mar-a-Lago, the employees. Mm-hmm. He knows that we're poaching these girls. Doesn't mean he knows what he's doing with them.
stop taking my employees.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, if you suspect he's the whistleblower and he knew you were taking employees from him, in retrospect, looking at it later, you go like, oh, man, he's the whistleblower, but he also knows about the girls. He knows we were taking them. Does he know what we were doing with the girls?
Right.
I mean, this does not hurt Donald Trump. It helps Donald Trump.
Well, what about the one where they released from Jeffrey Epstein where he said, I've met some very bad people and none are as bad as Trump? I mean, what if they come up with bad comments from Jeffrey Dahmer about Donald Trump? What will you say then? It's just so dumb.
I've eaten some bad eggs in my life, but I would not eat Donald Trump. I'll tell you that right now.